Hi everyone, in this session we'll continue working on our pipeline and add another job to the GitLab CI/YML file called build. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another stage called build, and after the unit test I'm going to say this as build, and the stage is going to be the build. Okay, again this can be any name, whatever you want, but this needs to match the one that you have mentioned here in stages. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the script, and the script is going to be maven package. And here what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip the test. Okay, so when you do the maven, because this is going to run in sequential order, the way first is going to be unit test and then the build, because they get executed in the order they are mentioned. We can also have this executed in parallel if you want to, but here we has these are a different stage, and also in sequence it makes sense to have first test then the build. Okay, so when the build is running, we already did the test, so we want to skip the test here, right? So for that we add the maven arguments as maven.test.skip is equal to true. Okay, so that's what we have the script, and then we want to save the artifact that gets generated in the build, and that will be our jar file, right? And that jar file gets generated in our target folder. If you remember, when we do a build here, then that gets the artifacts get generated here. So I'll save that artifact, and the paths is going to be dot target, and then here what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that expire in 30 minutes. Okay, so let's run this, first run this in our maven build, the application, and let's look at the configuration that we have here. It's clean test, so I'm going to say package and do run. So you can see the test also gets executed right here. So this is something that we want to skip when doing the package, because we already did the test run here. So that is the reason why we added this argument. Okay, so let's look at the artifact that gets generated, and you can see that the building the jar, it gets generated in the target folder. So this is what we want. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this as star.jar. Okay, so this makes more sense, and if you refresh here, and you can see in the target folder we got the jar file. This is what we need, right? You can have some logic to even in your this YML file to rename the artifact. Here we have a snapshot version, right? We can have a different a name when doing the build depending on the branch or the environment that you're trying to deploy. Okay, so let's commit this and see, run this. Okay, team, and I would say commit, I would say build stage, commit and push, and let's go back to our YML here, CI/CD. Okay, so now you can see that we have two jobs. One is unit test and the second one is the build. So once the unit test is successful, then the build job will be triggered, and by default it is going to pick the Ruby. Okay, in this case what do we have? We have maven 3.6 for the unit test, but not for the build. So the build might get failed because the maven command won't be able to execute. So let's see, let's look at that. So the fix for that would be, to have this image, instead of having it for this each stage, what we're going to do is we can also have this put over, so what will happen is this image will be used for all these stages. Okay, you don't need to again specify the image in under each stage. So now what is going to happen, if you remove altogether this, then by default it's going to use Ruby 2.6 image. But if you specify here at the top level outside the stages, each stages, then it's going to use the one that you have mentioned here. And if you want to override this at the job level, you can again add the image, whatever image you want to add here. Okay, so that's how you can add the images or override the images. But let's go back and see what happens here. Okay, the build failed as expected, and what it says, the maven command not found. So let's go and update this and commit the change. Image update. Now let's go back here, and in the pipeline, okay, it's running. Okay, the job is completed. Let's go and look at it, and it says uploading the artifacts, and the artifact start.jar. You can see here in the job artifacts, you can browse it, and here is the jar file that got created in our build stage, that is build job. So I think that's all for this video, and I'll see you in the next. Till then, take care. Bye bye.